Hello, everyone, and welcome to Anime Club After Dark. I'm your host, Alex, and joining me tonight we have Chinoda,
Hello.
Sho,
Hello.
and Natai.
Yo.
This is not exactly the episode I wanted to make right before I went to Otakon, but it is the episode of the podcast that we have to make. Unfortunately, as many of you are probably well aware at this point, there was an arson attack on Kyoto Animation last week, and we just want to take this time to kind of talk about what happened and then give some of our thoughts and feelings about what KyoAni has meant for us over the last several years that they've been around. So before we actually get into it, I think we all want to have a quick moment of silence for the people that we have lost at KyoAni in this absolutely awful attack. So if you would join all of us here on the podcast for just a brief moment of silence before we get started. All right. So, I don't even really know where to begin with this, but I guess the best thing to do is just start from what we know so far. I do think it's worth pointing out that we're recording this on Sunday, the 21st of July. So all of the stuff that we're going to be talking about on this recording is stuff that's just publicly available to everyone right now. So things obviously could change in later days. So definitely keep up with it on, anime news sites like Anime News Network, which is where we've been getting a lot of it. There's been people doing absolute yeoman's work on Twitter and Reddit, hand translating some news articles that have been coming out of Japan, especially from NHK, over the course of the last few days. So definitely thanks to these people who are doing it, not because they're getting paid to do it, but a lot of them out of the kindness of their hearts and using the talents that they have with their Japanese language skills. But what we know so far is that on Thursday, July 18th at around 10:30 a.m. JST, an arsonist basically set fire to Kyoto Animation's Studio 1 building, which is, as I have come to understand over the last few days, their main studio. They have, I think, two big studios in Kyoto, and then some other satellite studios and offices peppered throughout the city. And I think as of right now, we know of at least 34 people that have been officially confirmed to be dead. About 34 or 35 others who have been seriously injured because of it. And the Kyoto Fire Department did announce that they weren't able to get the fire fully out until 6:20 a.m. local time the following Friday. So the fire did burn for quite a long time before they were able to get in there and search for people. I don't know. I know what I was doing when this actually broke. I was actually at work when this news broke, and I was scrambling like a lot of other people to find out what was going on. Natai, you were probably asleep when this happened.
Okay, yeah, I was asleep, but then when I woke up, I opened up Reddit and then I saw the news and I didn't really process it at first. I was like, wait, what? And then as the day went by, the more and more info I read up, and it was, yeah, it slowly sunk in what actually happened.
Yeah.
So,
What about you, Chinoda? Were you up? You were up when this happened, right?
Yeah, I was gaming and I was talking with my friends, and then all of a sudden my Discord chat started going off like crazy. I was like, "Whoa, what's going on?" And I took a look, and yeah, my heart broke.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember exactly what time this news broke over here. It was late in the evening. I want to say it was around 10:30 p.m. Eastern time here in the U.S. when this broke out. So, were you awake when this happened, Sho?
No, I think I was about to go to bed, but I didn't read it until the next morning.
I do. I want to thank a specific person from our Discord server, Chris, who throughout the night up until he actually went to bed around midnight or so was giving us a whole bunch of links to people on Reddit and Twitter who were helping to translate the news articles that were coming out of Japan. So definitely thank you to Chris for that. I know he keeps up with a lot of stuff on Reddit and Twitter, anime related. So, and I really don't so much. What else do we know so far? It's a lot to.
Yeah, there's a lot to talk about.
It's a lot. It's a lot to take. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything remotely like this that has happened to the anime community, at least not in my lifetime.
Yeah, it hits really home for some reason.
Yeah. I actually was talking to Chris on our Discord server privately after the day after this. This would have been Friday for us. And there was one thing that kept going on over and over, or a thought that kept going over and over in my head. And some people might be too young to vividly remember this. I was not, but I kept thinking this is like anime's Columbine moment. So for those who don't know, Columbine was it still is, a high school here in the United States where back in 1999, the first really widely publicized mass shooting took place. And that was sort of a watershed moment of the late 90s. And especially when it comes to things like school shootings, which we hear more of now. And there were school shootings before that took place, but not publicized to the event that this one was. And I kind of think that that's what we're seeing, or what's kind of what I thought we were seeing when the Kyoto Animation arson happened. And I hope, much like the actual school Columbine, it's able to come back and the community is able to rally around it and things return to some sense of normalcy. But in the days since, we've basically learned that the studio itself is pretty much a total loss.
Yeah.
Everything that was inside their computers, papers, it's all gone. It's all been either destroyed or it's just gone.
When I read that headline especially, it really that one hit really hard. Like when I read that everything was destroyed in the fire.
Yeah, and apparently, Studio One is where they kept all of their like historical stuff, all their old film reels, all their old animation stills that they had been storing. Apparently, Studio One had a big storeroom where they kept all this stuff, and it's gone. All the originals are gone.
Mm-hmm.
Which that's the point where it really hit me. Like as sad and as genuinely tragic as the loss of life is, and it is. Don't get me wrong. That's the important thing that needs to come out of this. The loss of life is appallingly tragic. But when that article came out, the CEO of Kyoto Annie came out and said that all of it's just gone. That's when it really hit me emotionally. Like, because I don't know about the rest. I love Kyoto Annie. I think they're one of the greatest studios that's ever been. And to hear that their entire catalog, all their work that they had in the past is just gone, there's nothing that they can do about it, and all the stuff that they're currently working on is just gone, it's like, that's when it really hit me hard. It's like, we could be watching the end of this studio.
Now, we don't know if that's necessarily what'll happen as of now, but it's horrifying what was destroyed on top of the lives lost. Like, it was literal history for our community, a major part of it, in fact, and which is beloved by so many. That's just gone.
And also, like, it hurts even more because KyoAni for the longest time was like this beacon of hope in the anime industry. Like, the way they treated their employees and the way they like really tried to build up this community of like workers that actually respected the people who make this craft. You know, like with their program they opened for like what was it, the dormitory or something.
Oh yeah, the animator dormitory.
I think yeah, that and like the programs they have for like young artists that they bring in to teach them.
Mm-hmm.
They've done so much.
And
And
just
this
Yeah,
having
they
like just having like fair work conditions and fair pay
yeah.
and like
yeah
an
they were
industry
known.
that basically is borderline slave labor for a
Yeah.
lot of
Well,
these
they were
animators.
not to get too political in any way, shape, or form, but they were known as one of the more progressive anime studios with their working conditions.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
weren't this. They weren't like stuck in this I guess salary man type mentality that a lot of Japanese companies still operate through,
They
and that
were
Yeah.
it's refreshing.
they were trying to build towards the future, and it showed too.
And I do want to point out there are multiple Japanese news sources who have released the name of the man that committed this awful act. We have chosen not to give this guy's name out because we don't want to give him any more notoriety than he already has. I think there's a lot of news outlets, Anime News Network included, who are also abiding by this. Props to them,
Yeah.
because crazy people like this do not need the attention that they clearly seek.
Props to the community as well. Like how
Yeah, oh, yeah,
they're all
absolutely.
being rallied up with this like tragic event.
I want to say just absolute mad respect for Sentai Filmworks. They were the first outlet that I saw in the West, at least, to put something up for fans to, start donating toward, or helping to fundraise for this. I think it was like 2 or 3 hours after news broke.
Yeah,
Sentai Filmworks put together a GoFundMe. I do want to. Let me pull this up and hit a refresh on it, because I just pulled it up. The Sentai Filmworks fundraiser, Help KyoAni Heal. That's the title of the GoFundMe, which I will put a link down below to. And I highly encourage everyone, if you can, please donate, because I do trust Sentai Filmworks. They're a very reputable company, and I do think that this money will get to the families or to KyoAni.
And
For them
if you
to figure
don't
out what
feel
to do with it.
and if you don't feel comfortable using their GoFundMe, you can always like purchase directly from KyoAni's site, like digital prints. Then that
Which I
money
will
goes
also
directly to
put a
them.
link down below
Yeah.
to. I can't help you with translating their Japanese interface, but I can give you a link to their store. But I just hit refresh on this. The Sentai Filmworks fundraiser of its $750,000 goal currently sits at $1,867,800 which that just almost makes my eyes water up just seeing that. It's like, we here in the anime community get flack a lot for being, fucking shit posting neckbeards who only care about Japanese cartoons, which in some cases is probably true, but it's very humbling to see the community come together like this. I mean, we as a community love to bitch and bicker at people all the time, but I think when it's very heartwarming to see that when something like this happens, we can all just drop that, come together, and we can realize what's important here.
Yeah.
We might attack each other a lot over stupid opinions and such, but at the end of the day, majority of the community does recognize what's important and what matters. And if there's anything that came out of this at all, it's the fact that we can clearly see we're more than just some shit posters or just some people that are there for lewd stuff. No, we're an actual community looking out for each other.
Yeah. I'd also like to say, if you are currently or you will be going soon to Japan, the Animate retail stores are also putting up donation boxes for KyoAni in every single one of their stores. So if you are in and around, Japan at some point in the near future, definitely go in there and check that out. I think they also have some of this. There's like the wall of stuff that they've put up in their stores where the 100% of the proceeds that they raise from that are going to go to KyoAni. So definitely props to them as well. Crunchyroll has also got a page up on their website where you can type out a message to KyoAni, and someone at Crunchyroll will translate it and get it out to KyoAni so they can see your message of love that you have for them. I can put links to that stuff down below as well. And I mean, we were not going to say his name, obviously, but allegedly all this happened because this guy believes that KyoAni stole a novel idea from him. Of all the things to start a fire over.
I think what caught a lot of people off guard, I mean, because unfortunately we do have, like, a lot of really shitty events do happen, and it's not easy, and it's not fun at all, and it's, like, it's hard. But this one wasn't, like, directly related to, like, politics or religion. This was, like, aimed at people who just wanted to draw.
Yeah.
And that's...
It's aimed at a group of people who just wanted to bring joy into other people's lives.
And, like, we'll touch on the works probably in a bit, but, like, with so many of their shows that touch on love and family and, like, you know, caring for others, it just... Yeah, it doesn't feel real, honestly. Like, I'm thinking about it now, I'm reading the headline, like, I'm looking over the headlines now, and it doesn't feel real. It's bizarre.
No. And I don't know... I think you and I were talking about this, Natai, a day or so after it happened, where it's like, when it first happened, you were kind of taken aback by it, but it took a day or so for it to really sink in. It's like, this is real. I had a very similar experience after 9/11, where as it was happening, I was like in sort of disbelief, but I'm like, okay. And then the day or two after, I'm like, is this just a nightmare I'm not waking up from?
Yeah.
It genuinely did feel like that.
Yeah. I mean, not to compare this incident with 9/11. Both are absolutely horrible events, but it's just that similar feeling that I got. And it's not a good feeling. It's really not.
No.
I don't really know where else to go from here. This is...
I mean... Obviously,
this is not what I wanted to talk about right before my vacation.
Right. Honestly, like, I'm sure all of us share this thought. I mean, let's hope that all the injured and the families somehow manage to recover from this incident. It's like, it's awful.
Yeah.
But,
something that is worth mentioning, about half an hour or so before we started recording this, there was some news that came out that. Obviously, because this was a fire, many people were burned very, very severely.
Yeah.
There is a clinic in Japan, which is allegedly, I don't know for sure, but from what people are saying about it, it's supposed to be the best reconstructive surgery clinic in the country. I'm trying to think, what's the name here? Takasu Clinic. Has said that they will be performing reconstructive surgery for anyone injured in the KyoAni arson, free of charge, which if that's true, I don't think this has been 100% confirmed yet, but the source seems pretty legitimate. If this is true, mad props to this clinic for reaching out like that when they clearly didn't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredibly generous. I mean, those kind of procedures would be insanely expensive.
Oh, yeah, any kind of reconstructive surgery in general, no matter what kind of reconstructive surgery it is very expensive. So, yeah, I'm sure this clinic will take a hit financially, but it's good to see that when it matters, they're actually there for people. This is actually, when I saw this, I was genuinely surprised, and actually Natai, I think, was the one that brought this to our attention before we started recording. Yeah,
like 10 minutes before we started recording, I saw this.
I was kind of genuinely shocked because this isn't something I expected from a Japanese company.
What does that mean?
Because they have such a business above all else attitude. The whole salary man mentality. It's like, gotta make that money.
I think that's more for general businesses though, because I feel like a hospital would be a different work setting, or not a hospital, a clinic. Yeah. I don't know though.
Maybe. I'm very happy either way.
Yeah, it's great to see they're getting the support. I mean, yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other news that we know that I haven't gone over.
I mean, them demolishing the building and rebuilding
Oh
the
yeah, I
monument.
completely forgot about
Yeah,
that.
we can touch on that.
Yeah, whereas I'm trying to find that article, but I can't find it now.
It's the last link, I think.
Here, yeah,
Oh,
it's
okay,
the
thank
last
you.
link. Yep.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
I got it. Yeah. So yeah, one thing that the president and CEO of KyoAni has come out and said that they are obviously there's a lot to think about and like where do they go from here, kind of mentality going on with a lot of these people right now. But one of the things that has been put forth is that they might demolish that studio building because the building actually did itself survive the fire. It's scorched and stuff on the outside, but it did survive the fire. But they have thought about demolishing that building and turning it into like a memorial park for public use. I don't know exactly how I feel about that. I think there's a part of me that thinks that would be a great great public use of the land. But then there's a part of me that thinks, nah, rebuild and show this fucker that did this that you're better. You're
Honestly,
like, you're better for it.
If they somehow find the strength to come back and like work and create even more art, that'll be like the real fuck you to that guy. Because it's
Yeah,
like, no,
for sure.
we will keep doing what we love. And I mean, I don't know if they will do it. I mean, that's up to them with how they decide to like keep going. But yeah, we'll see.
I will say there has been a couple of pictures and I think a video as well of outside of the studio, a makeshift memorial has been built like in the parking lot of the building, where thousands of people have come to leave flowers and cards and other kinds of messages and well wishes, and a lot of people have come to pray at the site. So I mean it's good to see that the community itself is kind of the city of Kyoto is kind of rallying around this. Also, the CEO has stated that they have started to read some of the messages that are coming in from around the world, and they're very thankful for all the emotional support that people are lending them in this terrible, terrible time. God, this is awful. I'm actually really struggling to keep it together right now. I know no one can actually see me right now. And it's a very good thing. I know there's a couple of anime conventions here in the States coming up that I do hope do something. Me and Shinoda will be at Otakon next week, or this coming weekend by the time this episode comes out. I've actually sent a couple of messages to people who apparently work for Otakon asking if they will put up some kind of memorial wall where people can like bring flowers and come pay their respects. I haven't heard anything back yet, but I hope they do something like that. And I do definitely encourage anyone who's running any of these conventions that are coming up here in the U.S. to do the same thing, because I think it's something the community could use right now.
It definitely is, yeah.
I'm I hate to use this phrase because it was kind of a meme from the YouTube Rewind video from last year, but I'm very proud of this community raising almost $2 million for this cause in the span of less than 5 days.
It probably will go to 2 million too very shortly. Like the rate it's been going at, it really wouldn't surprise me.
I think so. I do want to point out that there have been several people, and many of them have been prominent YouTubers who have donated $1,000 plus. One individual who I'm not going to name, but you can actually go on the GoFundMe page and see for yourself. One individual has donated $50,000.
Wow, that is a lot.
Yeah,
that
is a ton. And whoever you are, the name doesn't ring familiar to me, but whoever you are, bless you. You are too pure for this world.
Considering how much KyoAni gave a lot of us in terms of just like beyond shows and movies and all of that, just the raw emotions they managed to like get us to feel and appreciate. I mean, like this is the time to give back to them, to the people who make us who we are, I guess.
And I'm not advocating people harass people on Twitter with ats, but if you feel like harassing someone on Twitter, harass Elon Musk and send him a link to that GoFundMe. I'm just saying, the man has some money that he could, throw KyoAni's way, and apparently he loves anime, so just throwing that out there. I'm trying to make this a little happier.
Do we want to move on to the next?
That's pretty much all we know as of this point. None of the names of anyone who was killed has been released. I'm pretty sure they won't until number one, all the families have been notified, and number two, the studio probably will give the okay to let that be known publicly. There are some people we know that are okay. We know that Naoka Yamada, who was the director for K-On!, Tamako Market, Tamako Love Story, she is fine. She's been tweeting about this. There's a couple other people who have been tweeting, so we know they're okay. There's one prominent director who's still, at least as far as I know, is listed as missing, but that's not necessarily an indication that they're deceased. But
hopefully,
I know.
Yeah.
It's also it's worth mentioning, although not even really important at this point, that the stuff that KyoAni was working on will obviously be delayed going forward, which for someone who loved Violet Evergarden as much as I did, I was really looking forward to that movie next year.
Yeah, they should take their time with it.
Oh yeah,
obviously.
Absolutely. I am kind of slightly concerned, but also not surprised by the fact that so many people that have been talking about this are talking about KyoAni as if they're giving a eulogy. I hope that's not the case. I hope it's not the case that the studio is dead. But we will see. We'll have to. I'm sure that KyoAni will take things one step at a time from now on, until they either get back on their feet or decide, that they don't have the capital to go forward as a studio. But enough with the crappy, depressing news. I do want to end this on sort of a positive note. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go around to each of you here, and I want to ask you, what does the works of KyoAni mean, or has it meant to you personally throughout your life? I'll start with you, Natai.
Personally, I haven't watched that many shows and works by them, but I remember, like, the first show I watched that they made was Dragon Maid, which the director of is still missing, I think, from what I've read.
Still missing.
It's officially listed as missing. Yeah, yes.
And that show, that whole warmth I felt from that show was just something so unique. And aside from that, I've watched Assigned Voice, which wrecked me and got to me on such a deep level. But I do want to specifically mention Violet Evergarden, which we talked about many times on the podcast.
Yeah.
That whole show got me to think and feel more towards my own feelings, I guess. I don't know, it's very hard to think about it. But anyway, it always seemed like they were all about just connected more to your own emotions and spreading those positive emotions to the people you care most about. At least that's what I got from most of their works. And this past day, of all I've been listening to is that soundtrack, and damn, the feelings are sinking in more and more the more I think about it, the more I talk about it, and it's such a, I don't know, but I guess the main, at least what I'm going to do is go back to their older works and just start experiencing more of the stories they wanted to share with people. And because I think that's also something we all can do a bit more.
All right. Show.
Well, KyoAni, I think for a lot of people, and me included, was known for its visual, its great visuals, its ability to animate scenes amazingly, and it's honestly one of the most polished studios that's able to do that. And that's a lot of talent that went into doing that. It's not going to be able to be continue. It seems like, unfortunately, maybe they can recuperate, but I don't know. But the works that they have already done, the animation in that has been spectacular, and it's inimitable by a lot of other studios. Honestly, Kyoto Animation is one of the highest bars of animation you'll find in the anime industry. And also from like a more subjective perspective, I really enjoyed their character designs, how they really perfected the moe blob aesthetic, honestly. Which I know you're chuckling because I'm not a moe blob person, but I do like moe blob boys. So so I will appreciate that. And I know Kyo Annie has perfected the moe blob girl, but they also do moe blob boys well. So
A la
I
free.
really no, no. Free is not moe blob.
Certainly
That's a
Bishi,
different
though.
kind of blob.
Oh,
There's
oh
no
God.
blob. It's all muscle. Anyways, like Chunibyo, the main character of Chunibyo is very moe
Yeah.
blob. Beyond the boundary, all the male characters are moe blob. You know that kind of you can see the fat jiggle. All I can say.
The main male character in Hyoka is kind of a
Yes,
moe
I agree.
blob.
Yes, and that too. And yeah, Hyoka is honestly my favorite work of theirs. I love the story, and I loved their visual storytelling to go along with the actual plot. A lot of people don't like it because they think it's a superficial plot, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite shows for a long time, and I will admit that I was definitely on the free bandwagon when that came out in like I don't know, years ago. I was definitely like hyped up about that. I really appreciate that they make shows for a largely female demographic, with not only their visual novels like Clannad. I don't know if Clannad is directed at females. I feel like it is, or at least it should be.
I
But
think
they have
Clannad
a
is more for everyone.
Clannad, the visual novel is definitely directed at females for sure. It's a sort of a shoujo love story.
yeah, they have a very like shojo aesthetic and plot wise, like visually and plot wise, it's very female oriented, and honestly, they're one of the best studios that can do female oriented work. As well as other work. Like, just in general, they're good, but, like, especially in that particular area. So I appreciate them for what they've done in that aspect. And my most recent show by them that I really liked that I just thought I'd mention was that, because it wasn't really a hit, it was that archery show about the archery boys.
Oh, Surune?
Yes.
Yeah.
Apparently no one watched it, but I liked it. I really appreciated
I
what
watched
they've
it.
done. Okay, well, exactly. Nobody's seen it.
Wow.
But no, it's honestly just such a tragedy that they won't be able to continue in the same capacity that they have been, and I won't be able to see. I really won't be able to see more of the works of the Kyoto Annie that I know about. I may be able to see a different version of them, but I won't be able to see what I've come to love. And that's honestly heartbreaking. But that's just what we've been experiencing. So I'm really thankful for everything that Kyoto Animation has given us so far, and I hope them the best.
All right, Chinoda?
When I was just a much younger boy, I remember going to cons and like hanging out at anime club and just seeing funny clips of a lot of shows from back then. And I remember one in particular struck out for me, and I actually ended up watching it, and I fell in love with it because it was just so cute and great. I'm talking about Lucky Star.
Oh, Lucky
That's a
Star.
throwback. That was,
Yeah,
I think, possibly my first real KyoAni experience. And
not a bad first start.
really though, and from there it only grew my love for them and me actually following their works. I didn't even know a lot of what I watched was their works until my later years of when I actually started following what studios did what. But I watched a lot of their stuff and enjoyed it, and I didn't even realize Nichijou, Beyond the Boundary, Violet Evergarden, Clanad, just Chinibio, Sound Euphonium. It's like so much work that I really loved, and not just loved, but it genuinely it genuinely had an impact on me because I'll be honest. When I was much younger, I was not in touch with my emotions, and I was I was very much a blank slate when it came to all that. And KyoAni is one of the biggest impacts that affected me in my early life because it made me get in touch with my emotions. It made me realize what spectrum of love there is. And sorry, this is really hard for me to talk about.
It's okay, dude.
You think you're having an issue right now? I'm over. I'm fucking crying right now, man.
Yeah. And it's all the work that they've shown and the genuine emotional output that they've gotten from me is it's like no other. And I genuinely hope they recover and go forward with their lives and with the studio. I hope it does make it, but if not, it sucks, but it's what happens. But either way, like no matter what, KyoAni will forevermore will have a special place in my heart because they gave me something that nothing else gave, and it's I'm genuinely thankful for that.
Oh God. I guess it's my turn now. Oh God. I'm fuck. Give me a second.
Take your time.
Sorry, you have to follow up on that.
No. I've been fucking crying for the last 10 minutes. I'm trying really hard to keep it together, but
Shinoda,
it's
thank you
not.
so much for that, by the way.
Yeah, it's not easy. God. Okay. Fuck. God. Be professional, Alex. I've been watching KyoAni stuff for a long time, and I think the first thing that I ever watched of theirs, was Clanad way back when I was still in high school, and I just remember falling in love with it and wanting to go play the visual novel because of it, and I did, and I loved that just as much, if not more. And every single thing that they've ever done since then, with very few real exceptions. I mean, I kind of got on the free bandwagon as well, but I've sort of fallen off. I'll be honest.
We've all fallen off, Alex.
And I mean, Phantom World didn't really sit with me very much either, but just every other thing they've ever done has just resonated with me so much, and I still think to this day that K-On! Is the greatest anime ever made. And I'm so happy for it because that show made me so happy watching it. And I think that if you've never watched K-On!, even if you're not a huge fan of Moe, just watch it. I guarantee you it'll make you happy watching it. Oh, God. I'm sorry, guys. God. Alex, stop. And Violet Evergarden will fucking wreck you, even if you have a heart of stone.
And even if you watched it many times before.
Yeah, I've been actually the last couple of days, I've been rewatching Violet Evergarden because I promised myself I'd watch something KyoAni related over the weekend. And I got to episode 9 and 10 and I fucking bawled like a baby. God, it's something else. If you haven't watched it yet, please go watch it. That'll just, it's so emotional. And KyoAni's done the best moe show ever. K-On! They've done, in my opinion, the best comedy show ever. Nichijou. It did Haruhi, which I used to be fucking obsessed with. And yes, I did the fucking dance. I hope that KyoAni can come back and be stronger than it ever was before, because I don't want this studio to go away. It's meant so much to me, and it's meant so much to so many other anime fans out there. And I really, really hope that this is not the end, because I think they have so many more stories to tell. I'm sorry, guys. I need a second. Okay. That's all I got.
And that's okay.
I'm so sorry. I should be more professional than this on the podcast.
It's
I
fine.
can't help it,
It's
man.
fine.
Fuck. Okay. Does anyone have anything else before I wrap this up?
Just one, at least one last thing for me. Like, I've been rambling, but like when Sho mentioned like the beauty of their work, I mean that also something that just I think it's obvious to all of us. Like the beauty of the emotions they try to like spread with their works is something that we'll always like. We can always see, we can always watch it again and like experience that. And the works of the deceased, it'll never be forgotten what they did to all of us. And yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. That's good. I think that's a great way to end this. Anyone else have anything, or should we go on?
After this, I'm going to finally
Go cry.
I'm going to go watch A Silent Voice because I haven't yet.
Oh, I don't think I can handle the silent voice right now. I really can't.
I probably can't
You,
either, but
you know,
I want to.
you know what, Chinoda, I'm with you. That I'm going to do it as well.
All right. Well, as terrible as this topic was to talk about, it's really cathartic to get our opinions out about KyoAni. And I'm really glad that you all could join us for this somber yet very meaningful episode of the podcast. We will eventually at some point do an entire studio retrospective on KyoAni. We haven't decided when yet, but that'll probably be sometime in August. Other than that, as always, I've been your host, Alex, and I'll see you next time. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night.
Good night,
you.
everybody.
Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you, KyoAni.
Thank you, KyoAni, for everything.
you.